Team 31 of 52 teams of 8. Help make America wiser and kinder with antique rival wisdom team quotes that have passed the test of time to make humanity great with words of wisdom to encourage, educate, and entertain generations for centuries. Give your kids free easy extra advantage math, spelling, and reading workbooks you can download for free at stop2think.com. Free easy math wisdom workbooks with Octo-Repetition to grow math self-confidence. Free easy alpha Cypher coded puzzles teach letters, numbers, and phrases using antique wisdoms that encourage and educate. And since time is money, practice reading faster with 52 teams of antique rival wisdoms that have passed the test of time to encourage, educate, and entertain generations for centuries. Team quote 31.1. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. Niccolò Machiavelli 1469–1527. This quote from Machiavelli essentially means that a wise person will recognize the necessary or inevitable course of action immediately and take it, while a fool will resist or delay until circumstances force them to take the same action anyway, often at a greater cost or with worse consequences. The wisdom lies in 1. Having the foresight to see what must eventually be done. 2. Having the courage and decisiveness to act promptly. 3. Understanding that delaying an inevitable action often makes things worse. This aligns with Machiavelli's pragmatic philosophy about power and leadership from his works like The Prince. He frequently advocated for decisive action and criticized hesitation or wishful thinking in leadership. The quote suggests that wisdom isn't just about knowing what to do, but about having the judgment to recognize when delay is futile and the resolve to act promptly. The fool, lacking this wisdom, often learns the same lesson through hard experience after wasting time and opportunities. Team quote 31.2. The greater the effort, the greater the glory. Pierre Corneille 1606–1684. This quote from French dramatist Pierre Corneille expresses a fundamental principle about achievement and recognition: that the most meaningful and celebrated accomplishments are those that require significant struggle, dedication, and hard work to achieve. The wisdom in this statement operates on multiple levels. 1. Personal growth. The process of overcoming difficult challenges develops character, skill, and resilience in ways that easy achievements cannot. 2. Value perception. Accomplishments that clearly required great effort tend to be more respected and admired by others, as they demonstrate dedication and strength of will. 3. Internal satisfaction. The sense of fulfillment from achieving something difficult is typically much greater than from easily obtained successes. This sentiment aligns with Corneille's artistic themes in his plays, where he often explored concepts of duty, honor, and moral struggle. As a key figure in French classical tragedy, he frequently wrote about characters facing difficult choices and challenges, suggesting that true nobility comes from how one faces adversity. The enduring relevance of this quote lies in how it counters the human tendency to seek easy paths, reminding us that the most worthwhile achievements often require us to embrace rather than avoid difficulty. Team quote 31.3. One loyal friend is worth 10,000 relatives. Euripides 480 BC. 406 BC. This profound quote from the ancient Greek tragedian Euripides speaks to the unique value of genuine friendship compared to relationships that exist merely through family ties. The wisdom here lies in recognizing that 1. True loyalty comes from choice rather than obligation. A friend chooses to stand by you, while relatives are bound by blood regardless of their feelings or actions. 2. Quality matters more than quantity. The 10,000 creates a dramatic contrast, emphasizing how a single deeply loyal friend can provide more meaningful support than an army of superficial connections. 3. Friendship must be earned and maintained, unlike family ties which are inherited. This often makes friendship bonds more intentional and potentially stronger. It's particularly interesting that this observation comes from ancient Greece, where family ties and bloodlines were heavily emphasized in society and literature. For Euripides to elevate friendship above kinship was quite striking for his time. This perspective appears in several of Euripides' plays, where he often explored themes of betrayal and loyalty within both family and friendship contexts. Through his tragedies, he frequently showed how blood ties could fail while showing the power of chosen bonds between non-relatives. The quote remains relevant today as it reminds us to value and nurture those rare, deep friendships that stand the test of time, regardless of formal familial connections. Team Quote 31.4. Come what may, all bad fortune is to be conquered by endurance. Virgil 70 BC, 19 BC. This powerful quote from the Roman poet Virgil speaks to the fundamental human capacity to overcome adversity through persistence and resilience. The wisdom here operates on several levels. 1. Universality of challenges. Come what may, acknowledges that difficulty and misfortune are inevitable parts of life, not exceptions to it. 2. Power of endurance. Virgil suggests that our ability to persist and endure is ultimately stronger than any misfortune we might face. It's not talent, luck, or even strategy that he emphasizes, but rather the simple yet profound quality of endurance. 3. Active conquest. The use of conquered implies that endurance isn't just passive suffering, but an active force that can overcome adversity. This transforms the act of enduring from mere survival to a form of victory. This sentiment strongly reflects Virgil's themes in the Aeneid, where the hero Aeneas faces numerous hardships but persistently carries on to fulfill his destiny. It's particularly meaningful coming from Virgil, as his works often dealt with themes of fate, duty, and perseverance in the face of divine and mortal challenges. The enduring relevance of this quote lies in its reminder that while we can't control what difficulties life presents us with, we can control our response through sustained endurance. It suggests that there is no misfortune so great that human perseverance cannot eventually overcome it. Team Quote 31.5. Life is the farce which everyone has to perform. Arthur Rimbaud, 1854–1891. This cynical yet insightful quote from French poet Arthur Rimbaud presents a darkly humorous view of the human condition. The wisdom here is multilayered and characteristically provocative, especially considering Rimbaud wrote most of his work as a teenager. 1. Universality. By saying, everyone has to perform, Rimbaud suggests that no one is exempt from life's absurdities. Rich or poor, wise or foolish, all must participate in this farce. 2. Performance aspect. The metaphor of life as a performance suggests that we're all, to some degree, playing roles rather than being entirely authentic. There's an implication that much of what we do is theatrical or absurd, yet we must act our parts regardless. 3. Lack of choice. The use of has to implies we're conscripted actors in this farce, unable to opt out of participating in life's often meaningless or ridiculous situations. This perspective aligns with Rimbaud's rebellious nature and his criticism of societal conventions. As a poet who rejected traditional values and eventually abandoned poetry altogether for a life of trading in Africa, Rimbaud embodied a deep skepticism about conventional life paths. The quote's enduring power lies in how it captures a universal feeling that life often forces us to participate in situations we find meaningless or absurd, yet we must play our parts anyway. It's particularly interesting coming from someone who ultimately tried to reject his prescribed role by abandoning his artistic career entirely. Team Quote 31.6. Nothing that is morally wrong can be politically right. William Eve Gladstone, 1809–1898. This quote from British Prime Minister William Gladstone represents a powerful stance on the relationship between morality and politics, particularly noteworthy coming from someone who held Britain's highest political office 4 separate times. The wisdom here operates on several levels. 1. Moral absolutism. Gladstone rejects the common notion that political expediency can justify moral compromise. He asserts there's no separate standard of right and wrong for political actions versus personal ones. 2. Leadership integrity. The quote suggests that political leaders cannot hide behind reasons of state or political necessity to justify morally questionable actions. It demands consistency between personal and public ethics. 3. Long-term perspective. While not explicitly stated, there's an implicit argument that what appears politically advantageous in the short term but violates moral principles will ultimately prove politically damaging. This principle was relatively radical for its time and remains controversial today. Many of Gladstone's contemporaries, and many modern politicians, argued that different rules apply to statecraft than to personal morality. His stance aligned with his reputation as the grand old man of British liberalism and his strong Christian beliefs. The quote's enduring relevance lies in how it challenges the common practice of separating political decisions from moral considerations. It suggests that genuine political wisdom must be grounded in moral truth, not just practical effectiveness. What makes this particularly interesting is that Gladstone made this assertion while successfully navigating the often murky waters of 19th-century British politics, demonstrating that ethical leadership wasn't just an ideal but a practical possibility. Team quote 31.7. There is nothing permanent except change. Heraclitus 545 BC, 485 BC. This profound quote from Heraclitus, an ancient Greek philosopher, captures one of the most fundamental truths about existence. It's particularly fascinating that this insight from 2,500 years ago remains just as relevant today. The wisdom operates on multiple levels. 1. Universal flux. Heraclitus recognized that everything in the universe is in constant motion and transformation. Nothing remains exactly as it is from one moment to the next. 2. Paradox. The quote contains a clever paradox. The only thing that never changes is the fact that change itself is constant. This self-referential nature makes the insight more powerful. 3. Perspective on impermanence. It challenges us to accept that trying to hold on to things permanently is futile, suggesting wisdom lies in embracing rather than resisting change. This idea was central to Heraclitus's philosophy, famously expressed in his statement that, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, because both the river and the person are different each time." He saw the world as being in a constant state of flux, with change being the fundamental nature of reality. The quote's enduring relevance lies in how it helps us understand and accept both personal and societal transformations. In today's rapidly evolving world, where technological and social changes occur at unprecedented speeds, Heraclitus's ancient wisdom feels more pertinent than ever. It reminds us that change isn't an aberration to be feared or resisted, but rather the natural state of existence itself. Team quote 31.8. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when thou art in, continue firm and constant. Socrates 470 BC, 399 BC. This quote from Socrates offers nuanced wisdom about the nature of meaningful friendship and how to approach it. The advice works on two distinct but complementary levels. 1. Initial caution. Be slow to fall into friendship, suggests careful discernment in choosing friends. This reflects an understanding that true friendship is significant and shouldn't be entered into lightly or casually. It implies taking time to evaluate character, understand values, test compatibility, allow trust to develop naturally. 2. Committed loyalty. Continue firm and constant, speaks to the depth of dedication once a friendship is established. This part emphasizes that real friendship requires unwavering loyalty, consistent support, resilience through difficulties, long-term commitment. The wisdom here is particularly characteristic of Socrates, who valued deep, philosophical friendships and believed in the importance of examining and understanding all aspects of life. His own relationship with students like Plato demonstrated this philosophy in practice. This guidance remains remarkably relevant today, perhaps even more so in our age of social media where friend has become a casual term. It reminds us that while genuine friendships are invaluable, they require both careful cultivation at the start and steadfast dedication once established. If you'd like to help raise school test scores and self-confidence, you can give your kids free easy extra advantage math, spelling and reading workbooks you can download for free at stop2think.com or buy at educationstopshate.com. Free easy math wisdom workbooks with Octo-Repetition to grow math self-confidence. You'll get plenty of repetitive practice of age ranges and averages of our 52 teams of 8 quote authors. Free easy alpha Cypher coded puzzles teach letters, numbers and phrases using antique wisdoms that encourage and educate. Can you decode this Cypher quote of encouragement using either our learning to spell or just for fun instructions? And since time is money, practice reading faster with 52 teams of antique rival wisdoms that have passed the test of time to encourage, educate and entertain generations for centuries. We offer printed versions and timed videos with background music. Sign up for free weekly emails of 52 teams of antique rival wisdom workbooks with easy math, spelling and reading practice. And, if you'd like to get paid for sharing our wearable wisdoms, keep this in mind. Everyone I know wears a shirt, and most of us change them daily, so change your shirt and change the world. Social equalities are blatantly subliminal antique positive wisdoms repetitively shared without saying a word. This applies to all our wearable shareable wisdoms. Like pretty witty baby onesies and baby tees that you and others will see and read multiple times a day. The same is true with pretty witty kids, but they'll also share these wisdoms with anyone that can read at daycare or school. Youthful truths let your kids gain confidence sharing antique wisdoms with their friends. Imagine them sharing words of wisdom with classmates and teachers. Therefore I think tees I wear is a super easy way to share words of wisdom that have passed the test of time. Our social equalities help make us all wiser and kinder with blatantly subliminal messages promoting a more fair and equal opportunity society for all. And don't forget our giftwisdoms.com for birthdays and holidays that makes it easy to share the wisdom with clothing, coffee mugs, and magnets. So do the future a favor by encouraging, educating and entertaining with words of wisdom that have passed the test of time to make us all wiser and kinder. With wearable wisdoms to fit babies, kids and adults, you can clothe a whole family, city or state. Join the 52 of 8 today at 52of8.com.